Robinson, who's in the slot. Look in that direction on a slant. Huge hit. Ball picked off. The Volunteers on the carry make an interception. Jawan Mitchell, they call him Juju.
Discrepancy. Schuster, they were going to take a shot, but he's hit by Nelson. And Nebraska has picked up the football. Their first takeaway of the game.
Wells way down the field. It is into coverage. It is intercepted. It is over. Lamarian James has sealed the victory for Old Dominion. And fittingly, it comes on a takeaway.
Welcome back to Devy IDP Grind. I am your co-host Hollywood. I'm joined by my co-host Justice. What's going on, man?
Not much, buddy. Just get ready for Christmas.
Yep, it's just days away, and or a couple of weeks away. And while you're getting ready for Christmas, I'm getting ready for the greatest season of all, college
bowl season.
That's right. Yep. So, be excited to watch some of those bowls. Our place, or my work, is actually shutting down the first week of January, so I'm doing nothing that week, just football all day, every day.
I'm going to a bowl game next week.
Oh, yeah. Where are you going to?
Old Dominion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of, I was texting with a few of my buddies that live around here. Maybe something we can talk about offline or whatever, but I just found out I can get discounts to like the SEC championship game, any championship game or bowl game that Dr. Pepper supports.
Yeah.
I can get tickets discounted. So I can get like the SEC game, I can get it for like $75 a piece.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got that in our back pocket. I feel like there's a guys trip coming here.
No, that'd be cool.
Anyway, yeah, I just found that out like the other day, and it was too late for me to try to get tickets. Man. But with that in mind, it's been a few weeks since we've been on. That's partly my fault because, like I said, my work is moving into a new building, so we've been trying to get that up and running, straightened out. But I think we've about got that done, so hopefully I'll be back to my routine of being off on Mondays where we can do this. With that, we have seen the end of the regular season for college football. We have seen the conference championship games, and we now know who the 4 teams in the playoff are. And it's number 1 Michigan versus number 4 Alabama, and number 2 Washington against number 3 Texas. Me and you've been chatting about this. We're just as upset that Florida State didn't make it in as anybody, I think.
Well, my biggest issue is if you wanted to punish them for Jordan Travis, I don't have a problem with that. My thing is you should have did that when it happened. Should have knocked them down out of the top 4 and said, hey, prove that you belong in the top 4. To leave them in the top 4 and then at the very last second drop them down.
Rug out from under them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. You pulled the rug out from under them. You gave them false hope. And I don't know. It's just bullshit.
Charlie Brown and Lucy all over again.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually sitting here watching an ACC championship game, and when it come on, it's in the fourth quarter, but earlier in the first half, and I didn't remember him saying this when I watched it when it was happening live, but J.C. Palmer even said in the game, they don't look to be the same team without Travis. And he was talking about the playoff thing. So I didn't remember him saying that, but he did. Maybe even at the time he was thinking the same thing too, but I'm with you. If that's what you want to do, you should have said, hey, look, You don't have your quarterback. He just went down. That's going to hurt you in the standings. Don't leave him in the top 4 or 5 and never say nothing about it, and then wait till selection day and jerk the rug out from him. I think that was pretty shitty. I feel bad for that whole team, especially the players and coaches, because they did what they were supposed to do. They played who was in front of them. They beat each and every one of them. They won their conference championship game. It may have not have been the most pretty win, but they won, and they did it with their third string quarterback. So I don't know how you keep them out because a Power 5 conference champion undefeated has never missed the playoffs, and I just don't know how you keep them out.
The conspiracy theorist to me that says a couple things. Number one, I read somewhere that I don't remember if it was like a gain or a loss, but Alabama making it was worth $150 million to ESPN. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
The other thing is, was it purposeful? Were they trying to send a message to the ACC to say, hey, you boys better pack up and go somewhere else?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because just a few days ago, I saw something that now Florida State, and I need to check into this, but Florida State's really going to push because, they threatened to leave or try to leave or whatever it was earlier.
Yep.
They're really going to try to push to get out of the ACC now. So, this whole realignment thing may not be done just yet. I just feel bad for them because they really, really got the shaft. And we can thank Alabama, right? If Alabama doesn't beat Georgia, Georgia stays in, Michigan stays in, Washington stays in, and I think Florida State's your 4th team. They stay in.
No, I think Texas. I don't know. It'd be
No,
hard.
Well, I think, and here's my thought. I think Florida State stays in because they're Power 5, they're undefeated. I think that was enough to keep them in there. When Alabama beat Georgia, it messed up everything, right? Georgia falls out of the top 4. Theoretically, Alabama's better than Georgia because they beat them head to head. That's fine. So they're there. But when you do that, that opened the door for Texas because Texas says, hey, well, we beat Alabama. So there's your mess up right there. Alabama screwed it all up. So as usual. But I mean, talking about the money thing, if that's true, that might not be wrong. I mean, when you look at it, Alabama's one of the best teams in the country, I think. I think Georgia is. I was surprised that Georgia fell all the way out. That did kind of shock me. I thought if you leave Alabama out, I thought it would be Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Georgia, just because Georgia was the only one of those 4 with a loss. So
I wonder
when Alabama won the SEC championship, you wasn't going to keep the SEC champion out. So that just kind of, when it was them over Georgia, that just messed everything up.
I also wonder if there wasn't a little bit of screw Michigan in there too, right? For all the stuff that's been going on with them, and they said, "Nah, we can't let them play Florida State without their number 1 quarterback. We'll give them Alabama instead."
Yeah. Did you see the reaction?
Yeah.
That was great. They did not want any part of Alabama in this first round. They wanted none of it. They were ready for Florida State. So I don't have the odds in front of me, but I kind of wrote a little piece on this on the Patreon. I think the national championship is going to be Texas and Alabama. And I think Alabama, if that's the case, I think Alabama wins the whole thing.
Well, I did put money on Alabama to win the whole thing. So
That's probably a smart bet. Now, I will say Michigan will be a tough out. So will Washington. I don't think Washington has the defense that Alabama does, or the Michigan or Texas for that matter. Offensively, I think they're as good as any of those four. I just don't think their defense is going to be able to hold up. So I think they're out. I think Alabama gets Michigan. I think Michigan has gotten by this year with all the suspensions and the whole spy thing, or whatever you want to call it. I think they've been living on borrowed time for the time being, but I think Alabama's going to get them. Alabama's on a mission, so and I think beating Georgia just kind of springboarded them to the front runner, in my opinion. So yeah, I like the bet. If I was going to play the bet, I believe I would take Alabama for sure.
Should be two good games. I think. And the messed up thing is, I think it's possible that the two semifinal games are going to be better than the finals, but we'll see.
I think you're right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. The FCS semifinals are set. If you watch this past weekend, they were playing some of their quarterfinal rounds, and it's going to be number 1 South Dakota State will host number 5 University of Albany.
Former ODU quarterback Reese Poffenberger.
There we go. And number 2 Montana Grizzlies will play host to an unranked North Dakota State. I don't know that I've said that in a number of years, but they are unranked.
Yeah.
And they've just been a perennial powerhouse in the Division II for years. I always love watching the FCS playoffs. I think they're so fun. Those guys are playing for the love of the game and getting after it. But I found a note yesterday that Notre Dame's head coach, who's been there for 5 years as the head coach, he's resigning at season's end. Yeah. Matt Ince, he's going to resign at season's end, and he's taken the job at USC as the linebackers coach. Of course, he's got a couple national championships as a head coach, and a part of, I think it was 3 or 4 others as an assistant. I don't mind him taking another job somewhere else, right? Because I think at the end of the day,
yeah, but as a positional guy, man, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're in any job, right? You're trying to better yourself, because I'm sure that job probably comes with a little more pay, I would imagine. I don't know that, but
sure.
And maybe that's his way of trying to getting into a head coaching job at that level, right? The issue I had is you waited till the semifinals to say this. Why not wait till your season was done and say, okay, it's been a nice run, fellas. We had a good season. It worked out, or it didn't. I mean, you may win another national championship. But I'm moving on. So I always question these kind of moves, right? Like, why would you do that? Because that has to upset your team, right? Because that just, the coach is leaving. What's the matter? I think the timing of it was horrible. So good for him. Good for USC, because, my God, they had to have somebody come in there and show them how to play defense. Something. Jeez Louise.
The games this weekend were pretty good, though. Those games, I watched. I watched the first half of the Villanova South Dakota State game, and then I watched. Yep. I watched a little bit of the Albany Idaho game too.
South Dakota State is, man, they're going to be tough to beat. Man.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Villanova played them tough, though.
They've kind of ascended to where North Dakota State's been for the past, 8, 10, 12 years? It's now South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits has got it going on right now. course, the transfer portal is open. Me and you and Chop kind of been talking about this in our private chat. I think at one point there was over 2,000 players already in the portal. This is just craziness. But there's a mass exodus of Texas A&M players to the portal, right? Walter Nolan's in the portal. Max Johnson's brother, I forget his name, the tight end, he's in the portal. They've got offensive linemen in the portal. When Jimbo Fisher got canned, that was the end right there. And I think there's a lot of players going to be going to a lot of different places. So, and I don't know that you can get a coach in there quick enough to stop the bleeding, right? I think some of these guys are going to be gone regardless. So, so it'll be interesting to see. I think, you know, players like Walter Nolan, some of the bigger stars, where they wind up going to. Speaking of that, it's also the time of year where players are announcing that they're going to skip the bowl game to get ready for the draft.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of that yet. Have you? Have you seen a lot of people opt out yet?
A lot, no. I know Sam Hartman was one. Seems like there was another pretty decent quarterback that has decided to opt out, but no, I've not seen it. Nobody from Tennessee has opted out of our bowl game yet. Now there's still time for that, but
I don't know why Sam Hartman would. I don't think he's a. I don't know. He's not a high draft pick, so I'm not sure why he would opt out. But
I don't know why you opt out of these games anyway. To be honest.
Well, like I can understand, I can understand like a Drake May or Caleb Williams, right? First round draft pick. They don't want to get hurt. But like Sam Hartman, that doesn't make any sense to me.
All right. I guess from the injury standpoint, I could see it, right? But a lot of these players probably have insurance, right? That's a new thing. You've got some kind of insurance that if you get hurt, to help protect you a little bit. I just don't like it because I think to me, it kind of says you're a me person and not a team person, right? I mean, you went to battle all year long with your team, and now that, hey, we're not in the college playoffs, I'm going to opt out and get ready for the NFL or whatever, right? It's just a me thing. It's a personal thing. If you're that worried, why did you play all year, right? You know,
right.
Kind of like Nick Bosa did a few years ago when he got hurt early. He's like, I'm just going to take the rest of the season, get healthy, get ready for the draft. That I can understand. But like McCaffrey and Fournette and some players since then, because I think they were like the first two to do that, right? To opt out of a bowl game. And to me, that's just, I just don't like that. I think it's a bad message to send to your teammates, and it's just a bad look personally on yourself. And like I said, that's just my personal thought. But I understand why they do it. I just don't like it because it changes everything. If you have players start opting out and these bowls are already set, that changes the complexion of everything.
Yeah.
One good piece of news, though, that I found, Oklahoma linebacker Danny Stutzman announced that he's going to return to college in 2024 instead of declaring for the draft. He had announced that he was going to go to the draft, so don't know if he's gotten some bad grades, bad reviews pre-process.
It's NIL money, and I heard this morning before the announcement happened that there were rumors that the Oklahoma boosters have found the funds to keep Stutzman in school. So looks like that's kind of what I've heard is that he's getting some cash. The other player too is Billy Bowman, who had an outstanding year. The safety, he's coming back too. So those NIL boosters have come through for Oklahoma, at least for their two defensive studs anyway.
Man, they have to be they have to be getting a decent amount, right? I can't imagine that
Oh yeah.
they're taking a significantly less amount than what they would be getting as a rookie in the NFL. I mean, because Stutzman and probably Bowman too, they're probably getting drafted second, third, maybe fourth, but probably in the second or third round somewhere. I would imagine both of them.
I would guesstimate Stutzman's probably somewhere between a third and a fifth, maybe somewhere in there. That's just a
I guess it
total
depends.
guess.
Yeah. So even still, if you're in the third or fourth round as a draft pick, I don't know what those pay scale numbers are, but I don't know. Maybe they are getting enough NIL money to return.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. There was a lot of portal changes, players entering the portal already, signing elsewhere.
Yeah, I figure we'll get to that later. Once that kind of settles down, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Once it kind of, because this window is just open for a short amount of time and then it closes, so I figured that'd be some nice off-season content. You got recruits flipping and you've got players hitting the portal and all that. So yeah, I figured I'd just wait, but we will get to that.
Hey, before you get to that next news, I got something for you, man.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Had to get you, man. Had to
wrap
get you.
up the show, folks.
I had to, man. You left me no choice. You were rooting against me.
I was. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Justice won our listener league on the campus side this year for the second time, and it should have been the third time in a row, but he was eliminated last year in the championship game.
Dwight beat me in the championship last year.
Yep, Dwight beat him, and so he rebounded this year to get his second title. But it was him and Dwight.
No, it was me and Dougie. It was me and Dougie this
year.
You
and Dougie, yes. Yeah, it was you and Dougie, and then it was Sal and Dwight on the other side.
Well, no, me and Dwight played in the semifinals, and Dougie and Sal played in the semifinals. I played Dougie.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was pulling against Justice because I didn't want him to win 2 in a row or a second one. I'd like to try to find my way in there one of these days before he started doubling up, but whatever. But that's pretty impressive to win 2 out of 3 and what should have been 3 of 3. So kudos to you. I'll get your ring and everything here. When I get the rest of them, I'll get that sent to you. But that's pretty impressive, man, to be able to win 2 out of 3 like that.
And I was just looking, man. My team had I had the biggest points total of the year in the championship game. My team came to play. They were upset about losing the championship last year. They didn't want it to happen again.
Yeah, it's kind of like real football, right? All you need is a ticket to the dance, and then you just need to be hot at that time, and that's
absolutely
that's what you do, man.
Absolutely.
But congratulations, kudos. That's a championship well earned there, despite your silly little video you slid in there. I'm sure we'll mention some of the stats and stuff like we did last year. You'll probably do the Campus to Canton and the Legends and all that, but that'll probably be next few weeks. But we'll look at that. But again, congratulations. And then for the 5-star topic, I had a few things. This season's stat leaders, which, granted, these are likely to change, but not too much because these teams have only got 1 game left unless you're in the playoffs. And then you've got possibly
2.
Yeah, possibly 2, but at least 1. So if they're on this list, then and I don't see anybody right away. But anyway, it could change. Everybody else's are pretty much done except for their bowl game. So the top three tackle leaders for the season was your boy Jason Henderson, linebacker from Old Dominion, with 170.
Who will not be playing in the bowl game? That's already been announced. He got injured in the last game of the year, and will not be playing in the bowl game.
Yes, so he's the leader in the clubhouse at 170. Then you've got Jay Higgins, linebacker from Iowa, at 155, who will be playing my balls in the bowl game. And then you've got Chase, and I spelled that wrong, Chase Klein from Eastern Michigan with 143 tackles. That's your top three tackle leaders. I actually have Higgins in a place or two, and I think I picked up Klein somewhere late last year, or I tried to, and maybe he was gone, but I did try to go get him. Your TFL leaders, outside linebacker Latu from UCLA has 21 and a half. Defensive Jalen Green from James Madison has 21. And then your boy again, linebacker Jason Henderson, Old Dominion with 20, and outside linebacker Aaron Casey from Indiana with 20. So they tied for third. The sack leaders, and I did not realize this. I kind of thought Jalen Green would be the leader right off the top of my head, but he was second with 15 and a half.
And he didn't play the last 4 games or something.
Yeah, I think he missed the last 3, 4. But the leader was Javon Solomon from Troy, defensive end, who had 16. Now, if you remember, 2021, he had a huge season, breakout season. I think he had like 11 and a half sacks. Then last year, for whatever reason, man, it just didn't happen for him. I think he only had like 4, 5 sacks, and then he rebounded this year. So he's one of those super seniors. He'll be headed towards the draft, but yeah, he's your sack leader. And then outside linebacker Trey Moore for UTSA had 14. So there's your 3 sack leaders.
Trey Moore is in the portal, and I think the rumor is he's going to Texas.
Ooh. Yeah. Tennessee played them earlier in the year, and he is a really, really good player. Nothing against UTSA, but Trey Moore is talented enough. He needs to be at a bigger school, like a Texas or Alabama or whoever. He deserves to be playing somewhere else. So I'd be interested to see if he goes to Texas. That'd be a good get for them. Be a good get for whoever lands in that. And then interceptions, safety Xavier Watts from Notre Dame led the country with 7.
2 or 3 of those were against Caleb Williams, I think, right?
I think so. Yes, they were. And then for second place, we had a 3-way tie. We already mentioned one of these guys, Billy Bowman, the safety from Oklahoma, with 6. Safety Ricardo Hallman from Wisconsin with 6. And then safety Dylan Thieneman from Purdue with 6. And he was a freshman. So, yeah. So, yeah, he's somebody I'm looking at. Pretty impressive. I think he had over 100 tackles, too. So, so a really good player. If you can get him on your IDP Devy team, I probably would look at doing that. Anything stand out to you about our leaders?
No. Not really. I'm surprised there aren't any corners, on the tops of the interceptions, but no, nothing really the tackle difference between like first to third is pretty big delta there. So, but
27. I feel pretty confident that Henderson's going to continue to lead this.
Higgins would have to get 16 tackles. And that's definitely within the realm of possibility. But
we've seen him. I think he had a 15 or 16 tackle game earlier this year. I believe it was.
Yeah,
one of his first games. I think it was.
Yep.
Where he broke out. But I mean, it is possible, but we'll have to see there. And you have our fantasy leaders posted here, so I'll let you do that.
So these were the end of the season, end of the regular season, the fantasy leaders for IDP. And this isn't a specific league scoring. This is more general scoring that I do for the Campus to Canton website, where I post all the players there. But for the defensive line, number one, again, despite missing, I think the last 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, Jalen Green, JMU, was number one with 148 points. Muhammad Kamara, defensive end, Colorado State, 134 points. And then Edge, Laiatu Latu, UCLA was third with 131 points. Looking at the linebackers, the number one linebacker for fantasy was Peyton Wilson from NC State with 255 points, followed by Jason Henderson from Old Dominion with 231 points. And in third was Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State with 222 points. Looking at the defensive backs, number one was Kendaran Ray from Tulsa, 208 points. Number two, who we mentioned earlier, freshman Dylan Thieneman from Purdue with 204 points. And in third was Hunter Wohler from Wisconsin with 198 points. And I just wanted to point out that another freshman that we talked about a lot, Caleb Downs, he was fifth among defensive backs with 172 points. I'm really shocked that Jalen Green stayed on top of the defensive lines there, despite missing, a third of the season almost, right, or a quarter of the season. One thing I wanted to ask you, Hollywood, is what do you think about Kamara and his NFL prospects? He's been pretty good on, for college, but he's a little on the shorter side. I'm not sure if that's going to hurt him come time in NFL draft time, but he's not big enough to be an inside player, and he's a little short for an edge.
Yeah,
I think he's only 6
right?
foot or 6'1" or something, right? I'm gonna look it up.
Well, I'm looking at Pro Football Reference, so I don't know if this is exact, but they had him at 6'3", 245. I don't know if that's correct.
Well, the Colorado State website, their roster has him at 6'1", 250. That 6'1" scares me, man.
Yeah, if he's 6'1", 6'2", that's not ideal. He doesn't really have, like you said, the weight or the mass to really play inside or up on the line. So he's a tweener in my eyes, and it's probably going to kick him into an outside linebacker role, situational pass rusher. Man, that's tough. I think he's talented enough. I just don't know that he's talented enough to make up for some of his physical shortcomings, right? So yeah. I think a team that drafts him, they're going to look to try to be creative with him, situational stuff. I don't think he's a full-time starter or quality starter like that. So,
yeah, and I don't know from a linebacker standpoint that he's going to be able to cover, right? So,
yeah, I don't think he has the coverage skills. So, it would be tough for me. I mean, if you're looking at his pass rush numbers, or 45.5 career TFLs, 29.5 sacks, that's going to get him a lot of attention, right? Come draft time. Then I think it's just a process of, like, if he's in the combine or these bowl games, all-star games or whatever, they're going to put him in positions where they think he has limitations and liabilities, and how he does in those will probably determine everything. How fast can he run? His coverage skills, I'm sure they're going to say, hey, what can you do in coverage? And if he can't show some kind of improvement or progress there, then his NFL is just not very high for me. Is that it?
Yeah. Yep, that covers the.
I mean, do you feel the same way, or?
Yeah, I mean, I had high hopes for him until I realized how short he was. Because
Yeah, I
he's
think the
been so
talent's there, man.
productive, and I didn't realize it probably till maybe like a month ago or so how short he was.
Right.
He's been so productive at Colorado State, and then I was just looking. I don't remember why, but I saw his height, and I'm like, oh man, like that's not good. That's not good at all. You know,
Right. So,
I think you're right.
and
He's
I
gonna be a
think that's another
situational
thing.
pass rush guy.
I think that's another knock on him too. He's at Colorado State, right? Because let's face it, you're not playing very many big teams. You're playing Hawaii's and Nevada's and Wyoming's and San Diego States, and you're playing that type of team. So yeah, the numbers look good, but that's what you should be doing against those teams. You should have big numbers against them. So um, yeah, I think he's probably fifth, sixth, seventh round if he gets drafted. Probably around round 6, I would kind of put him.
Yeah,
But I don't think he's a full time starter. I think he's a situational guy for me, anyway.
yeah.
Good stuff. Love seeing Caleb Downs on there. We miss a lot on some of these young incoming freshmen and recruits, but man, we, me and you and Chop just love this dude from the get go. And
Yeah.
man, he is. Whew, Nick Saban has to just walk around like Pinocchio with Caleb Downs on the field all the time. I'm just saying, because he coaches defensive back, so when he's out there with them, he's just like, man, where have you been my whole life, right? So yeah, little man crush on Caleb Downs. He's got 2 more years before he can leave. That's the good thing. So if you've got him on your fantasy teams, you're going to be set with that young man at safety for a pretty good while. And if he stays on the same trajectory, he's NFL bound for sure. So love that. We have a list of award winners that I want to run through. It's quite a long list, but I felt like this was a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Man, it pains me to say this, but these first 4, your Heisman Trophy winner, your Walter Camp Award winner for Play of the Year, your Davey O'Brien for Best Quarterback, your Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award for Best Upperclassman Quarterback, all 4 go to Jaden Daniels, quarterback for LSU. He's deserving, I guess, but he would not have been my choice for the Heisman.
I mean, I don't know. I think if Oregon had won, I think Bo Nix would have gotten it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why Jaden Daniels did get it, but I don't know. I think it was just a weak year in general.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd have had a vote, which I don't, so nobody really cares, but I would have voted Michael Penix. I think what he's done with that Washington team, beating Oregon twice, right, against another Heisman candidate, Bo Nix, you went undefeated. You've got one of the 4 best teams in the country, right? And Jaden Daniels can't really say that with LSU. Now I know it doesn't have to be a winning team, but I think that's a piece of the puzzle, right? I just think Penix is by far the better choice for the Heisman and some of these other awards. But like you said, I could see why Jaden Daniels won it. I just don't think he was the best player in college football. I would have been more okay with Bo Nix getting it, even though he lost twice. I think he would have been more deserving than Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make an argument for both of them, but yeah.
Yep. Speaking of Michael Penix, he did win the Maxwell Award, which goes to the best player in college football. So he won that. So I don't feel like I'm too far off with my statement. The Doak Walker Award, given to the best running back, is Ollie Gordon of Oklahoma State. If I'm not mistaken, I saw the other day that he's already into the portal. I'm almost positive I saw that. So that's kind of weird that you've got a national type player and he's already into the portal. So, and Oklahoma State had a pretty decent year. So,
for Ollie Gordon, is that what you said?
Ollie Gordon.
Now, who were you saying you thought you heard went to the portal?
I thought it was him.
Ollie Gordon? No. Well, the one I saw about that was a fake account.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't look at it closely. I just kind of scanned over it.
Yeah, that was the one I saw that said that was a that wasn't a legit account. That was
Good then.
Hey, believe me, I've been gotten a few times this year already too, where they make those fake accounts
right.
and then say some stupid stuff, and I'm like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, and some of them are pretty smart and savvy. They say things in a way that it's kind of believable, right? And
yeah,
really
they change their name, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah,
yeah.
The Bolitnikoff Award winner, Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver from Ohio State. I thought he would finish a little higher than in the Heisman race than he did, but he didn't. The Jerry Rice Award, which this is a FCS award, it goes back to running back Eli Gilman of Montana. So nice one there for him. The John Mackey Award goes to Brock Bowers of Georgia, and he is the first tight end to win that award twice. No way he comes back this year, is he? I mean, there's a way, but I don't think he does. I don't think the boosters can put enough money for him to come back. I wouldn't imagine. Not what he's going to get in the NFL. Because he's probably, top 10 pick? Easy.
Oh, I don't know. I
don't think he's a top 10 pick?
No. He's a little bit on the smaller side, too. Super productive, but he's not. Is. But for a tight end, man, he's not like he does not have prototypical tight end size. Not from an NFL perspective. Let's see, what's his I'm pulling up the Georgia roster now. 6'4", 240. So not terrible, but he's a little on the from a weight standpoint, he's a little bit on the smaller side, but I mean, I think I can see him in the first round, but I don't think I see him as top 10. But you never know.
I'm kind of guessing he's there, but I'm kind of basic. I haven't really sat down and put together my list. I'm still probably do that after the first of the year, but I have been taking some notes, just some places and things that I've seen as far as mock drafts. I've not seen him any later than 13 so far, and most of them have had him inside the top 10. Like 7, 8, 9, 10 has been where I've been seeing him mocked a lot. So I think he's definitely in the first round, but I think he winds up going in the top 10, maybe top 15, but just kind of my thought on it.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me, I guess, but
yeah. The Paul Hornung Award, which is given to the most versatile player in the country, wide receiver / corner, Travis Hunter of Colorado. You've heard us talk about him. Congratulations to him. It does sound like he and Shadur are going to return, which I kind of thought would be the whole play all along. They're going to return, it sounds like, for another season at Colorado. The Burlsworth Award, which is given to the best player in college football who began his career as a walk-on. And that goes to running back Cody Schrader of Missouri, who absolutely shredded us earlier or later this season. We just had no answer for him. He just ran all over us. Good to see that walk-ons get that kind of praise. The Remington Award, the best center, goes to Jackson Powers Johnson of Oregon. The Outland Trophy goes to defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat of Texas for best interior lineman. The Bronco Nagurski Trophy, which is the best defensive player in college football, goes to safety Xavier Watts of Notre Dame. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I know he had the 7 interceptions and whatever, but I'm kind of surprised that
he played really good in that game against USC, man. So,
and I'm not exactly 100% sure. I'm trying to find this real quick. So yeah, he had only had 47 tackles. 47 tackles, 2.5 for a loss. Of course, the 7 interceptions for 137 yards, 4 more pass deflections, forced fumble that he recovered and returned for a touchdown. So impact player, but man, those tackle numbers have got to come way up. And he's a junior, so I don't know if he will come out this year or return. I would think he would return. I think he needs it. So, and he's talking about short, 5'11", 199. So he's below the threshold on both, right? I mean, 6 foot 200 is kind of small, but he's below that. So that's tough. That's tough. Lost my place here. Oh, Chuck Bednarik Award, which is also given to the best defensive player, and that's linebacker Peyton Wilson of NC State, who also won the Dick Butkus Award for the best linebacker. So he got 2 awards: the Chuck Bednarik, the Dick Butkus, the Lombardi Award, and the Ted Hendricks Award, which is best defensive end and best lineman, goes to Latu Laiatu of UCLA, their pass rusher.
What
the Jim Thorpe.
What do you think about Wilson from an NFL perspective? I just don't know that he's gonna. I don't know. I don't know that he's gonna fit what the NFL wants.
That's a good question. I think I always tend to. If I could talk, I always tend to go with what my initial reactions are when you ask me or somebody asks me about a player. And I think my initial reaction is, what is he at the next level? I think he's very talented as far as playing the run, downhill type player.
Yeah.
But I think he's got some questions that are going to have to be answered about injuries, right? Because 2021 he missed all but 2 games, maybe even a game and a half.
Missed games last year.
Yeah, he missed a few last year, but he did bounce back. And then this year it seems he really bounced back, right? So he had a career high 138 tackles, career high 17.5 TFLs, 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, 6 PBUs, 2 fumble recoveries. So he set career highs across the board, which is definitely what you want to see. I don't know. Trying to look here again. I'm looking at Pro Sports Reference, so these numbers may not be exact. 6'4", 235. So he's got the height, right? 6'4". I don't think that's too bad. 235. He could probably pack on a few pounds if he wanted to. I think if you're looking for that guy that can line up in the middle and go get the ball, make plays, I think he'll be all right if you've got some other players around him. If you're asking him to carry your defense, I don't know that I would be okay with that. But I think his medicals are definitely going to have to check out first and then go from there. I mean, it seems like this year he took a step as far as coverage goes, right? 3 interceptions, the 6 pass deflections. He returned 1 for a touchdown this year, so he showed a lot of improvement and growth there, which I think helps. I don't think he's an early pick. I think he's maybe a third or fourth round pick, somewhere right there, maybe. And if he goes to the right team, then I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I don't see him looking at the again, this doesn't really mean a whole lot, but looking at the position list, like it's like most of it's like top 5 or so. None of the ESPN guys have him in their top 5 linebackers.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of looking at a rough list here. You've probably got, well, not probably, but you've got, you're going to have Barrett Carter ahead of him. You're going to have Jeremiah Trotter ahead of him.
Did I read that Carter's coming back? I thought maybe I heard that.
Oh, I don't know. You're going to have Adrian Cooper ahead of him. You know, and this is barring if some of these guys don't come back. So, top 5.
Yeah, Barrett Carter's coming back.
Okay, so there's one. So with that out of the way, then maybe he does kind of sneak in the top 5 at the position. I haven't really looked at who's coming back and who's not yet, so that's why I'm kind of fuzzy on some of this stuff. But top 5 at the position, I'd be okay with that if you've got him at 5. I think. I mean, I think I would rather have.
I don't think it's a great. I mean, once again, last year wasn't either. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a good year for linebackers again for the draft.
Yeah, it's not. I think I would have a player like if Jalen Ford's a senior. If he comes out, then I would have him ahead of him.
I mean, I don't know that there's a first round draft. I mean, to me, Jack Campbell was the clear number 1 linebacker. I don't know that. I just don't know that. I don't know. I don't know that there's another Jack Campbell in this class.
No, there is not. I think you've got some really good linebackers. I don't think they're great. I mean, you've got, like I said, and without looking at eligibility, yeah, you got Adrian Cooper, Jackson Mitchell, Jalen Ford, Stutzman's coming back. So,
Trotter, Cedric
Aaron
Gray.
Beasley, I think I would put Aaron Beasley ahead of him. I think I would put Nathaniel Watson from Mississippi State. I think would go ahead of him. Nick Jackson. I think that's close.
Nick's a little short, man. He's a short guy too, but you know
he is. But I think those 3 are kind of, for me, is kind of that, you know, Nick Jackson, Peyton Wilson, Barrett Carter. I kind of think they're in the same tier. Of course, Trotter's ahead of him. Higgins is a senior, so I don't. 1 year wonder. I think he's close to 5. I think that's about right. I don't know how I would put him top 3 or 4, but I think at 5 you're okay with that.
Gotcha. Sorry to interrupt. I think you're on the Jim Thorpe.
No, you're fine. That's why I put these out here so we could, if something caught our eye, we could discuss it. And, Jim Thorpe, this one caught me completely off guard. Goes to Trey Taylor, defensive back for Air Force, and he had a pretty good season. I did not expect a service academy player to to be the leader for one of these. But man, what a season he had! Right? He just was so good for them. I'd hate to see where they were at without him this year.
Yeah.
This one I just found this morning. I had some of these last night, but I guess this one was awarded last night. So the Lot Impact Award goes to linebacker Junior Colson of Michigan. Kudos for him. The Buck Buchanan has not been awarded yet. I think it's sometime this week. And then we get into some specialty stuff before we get to Defensive Player of the Years. The Lou Groza Award for Best Kicker goes to Graham Nicholson of Miami of Ohio. The Ray Guy goes to Torrey Taylor of Iowa. for best punter. And if anybody ever earned an award, he got it this year because that offense was putrid. Oh, horrible. Oh, man. I bet his leg by halftime of every game was just like, stop. um, the Patrick Manley Award, which is for the best long snapper, Joe Shimko, North Carolina State. The Home Depot Coach of the Year was Kalen DeBoer for Washington. The Eddie Robinson Award went to Jimmy Rogers of South Dakota State. The Frank Broyles Award for top assistant coach goes to Phil Parker of Iowa. And a lot of people immediately hear Iowa and start laughing. Dude, he's a defensive coordinator, and what he's done with that defense for the past 2-3 years is insane because they've had one of the best defenses in the country. So he definitely earned that, I think. And then you got the Warfel Award, which is community service, goes to wide receiver Ladd McConkey of Georgia. And then top scholar athlete, which is the William B. Campbell Trophy, goes to quarterback Bo Nix of Oregon. Maybe a few more awards that'll come out along the way, but those were the major ones that's been given away. And then it kind of got into, all right, who's the defensive player of the year for the conferences, right? Again, I'm still working on this, but the ones I could find is the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. That goes to outside linebacker Trey Moore, who we talked about earlier. The ACC Defensive Player of the Year is Peyton Wilson. So he's racking up some awards. The Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive tackle Jerzon Newton for Illinois. Don't be surprised if he don't sneak in the first round somewhere. Him and is it
Randolph?
Who?
Randolph? Is that who you're thinking of?
Randolph.
The other guy at
Yeah. So I think both of them has an opportunity to go late first, but and then the Big 12, right? They stayed with the same thing. They went defensive tackle for Defensive Player of the Year with Tavondre Sweat of Texas. Some of these are smaller ones, but hey, let's give them a shout out. CAA Defensive Player of the Year is linebacker Dylan Kelly of Albany. The CIAA is corner Willie Drew of Virginia State. Conference USA is linebacker Tyron Dupree from Liberty. The MAC Defensive Player of the Year is linebacker Matthew Salopic of Miami of Ohio, who we've talked about. The MEAC Defensive Player of the Year is defensive back Kenny Gallup Jr. of Howard. The MIAC is linebacker Carson Deckham of Gusty. The Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, here's your boy, Muhammad Kamara, Colorado State. The NESCAC is defensive lineman Thomas Kearney, Middlebury. OVC is defensive end Terrell Allen of Tennessee State. The Pac-12 goes to Latu Laiatu, UCLA. The SEC, Dallas Turner, Alabama. Southland Conference goes to linebacker Jalix Hunt, Houston Christian. The Southern Conference goes to defensive end Jay Pearson of Chattanooga. The Sun Belt went to defensive end Jalen Green, James Madison. We've mentioned his name quite a bit today. And the UAC Defensive Player of the Year is defensive end David Walker for Central Arkansas. Again, that's the ones I could find. There may be a few more, and I'll post them on Patreon because I've put this on Patreon too. So it's a free article. Y'all can go check that out. Any of those stand out to you?
A little surprised.
I think we all kind of
Dallas
Turner, right?
And I'm a little surprised. I mean, I'm only surprised because Jason Henderson's there too. That Green got it over Henderson, but Green had a phenomenal year, but so did Henderson. So that was, but I think the Sun Belt has always kind of deferred. At least the last 2 years, they've deferred to a senior And so I'm assuming that's
Right.
probably why Jalen Green got the nod there.
So what you're saying is Jason Henderson gets it next
Yeah, he should get it next year. I mean,
year.
you could have made the argument he should have gotten it this year and last year. Last year they gave
Yeah,
it to
because
last year they gave it to Carlton Marshall. And so, just based on them giving that to him and then Jalen Green this year, I mean, and it's not to take away that those guys had great seasons. But it seems like they kind of defer to seniors. So next year, I fully expect Jason Henderson to be the defensive player of the year for the Sun Belt.
I'm gonna put you on the spot, and hopefully you can put your bias away here. And I know they're different draft classes, but you asked me about Peyton Wilson. Would you rather have Peyton Wilson or Jason Henderson if you're an NFL team? If you're running an NFL defense, which one would?
Peyton Wilson. I think Wilson's bigger. He's taller, and he's better in coverage.
Okay, fair enough. Look at just putting away your bias. I'm proud of you.
I mean, I love Jason Henderson. He's a beast, but he's a little on the shorter side. So, and he doesn't.
Yeah,
play
that's going to hurt him when the draft process comes.
He doesn't play coverage. ODU doesn't ask him to play coverage, so that's going to hurt him too. Yeah. I think.
But I think for players like him, set aside his physical limitations, height, weight, whatever. Like you said, well, ODU doesn't ask Henderson to play coverage. I don't know that's not his fault that they're not asking.
No, it's not his fault, but it's hard to project him in the NFL, not seeing him play any coverage.
Yeah, and I think for players like him, who's already got some, I want to say red flags. That might not be the right word, but he's kind of shorter, kind of smaller. Doesn't play a lot of coverage. I think these all-star games, combines, and stuff like that is so important for them because they're going to be asked to show what they can do in coverage, or I think that's so important for them. Interesting. I was curious about that, but I don't know that you're wrong. I think you're probably right. I don't know that. And I've seen a lot of Peyton Wilson, and I think he does play with a high motor. But I don't know that he has the same energy as
Henderson.
Yeah.
No, I don't disagree.
Doing something else. What the? Police or something. Sorry, I got squirrel. There's police going by, so I don't know what's going on. That's the sirens are here. Sorry, squirrel. So the Associated Press released their All-American team, their first team. At edge, they have Laiatu Latu from UCLA, Jalen Green from James Madison. Good with those two?
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I consider Dallas Turner an edge, but
we'll get to that. And I do too. So I guess by the way they've got this laid out, I'm assuming when they say edge, they're really meaning defensive end. But.
Yeah, I mean, and Jalen Green's another one. I don't see an NFL future for him. He's also on the small side.
Yeah, I think you're right. He'll get some looks because he had such a big year statistically. But they're going to put him through the ringer, right? Measurement wise and skills.
Yeah, I think he's also like that 6'1", 6 foot.
Yeah, I don't want to say that he's not NFL talented, but I don't think he's NFL starter quality. I think
he's 6'1", 245 on their official website. Yeah.
Interior linemen or defensive tackles: Tavondre Sweat of Texas, Drazon Newton of Illinois.
Yeah, they got those right for sure.
Yep. Then at linebacker, they went 3 linebackers. And Peyton Wilson is the first one. Adrian Cooper, Texas A&M. Dallas Turner, Alabama. So I'm with you. I think Turner's more of an edge. I would have took out Green and put Turner there.
Yeah.
The other 2 linebackers I'm okay with. Cooper had a really good year. Wilson did too, but I think I would rather have Cooper over Wilson though.
And I think if Turner had been on the edge list, I think Henderson would have been that other 3rd linebacker because I think he was 2nd team.
Yep. At corner, Cooper DeJean and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Cooper DeJean may actually play a little safety at the next level. I think he's capable of doing a little bit of everything. Not that he's not a good corner. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I think he
can be a little bit of a hybrid.
Yeah, so I think that's a plus for him, right? Because you're not pigeonholed into just one specific position. So I think anytime you can play multiple spots and still play effectively, that helps you. So I like that. McKinstry, he's going to be a straight up corner. So this isn't his last year, is it? For McKinstry? I don't think so.
Well, but it's not his next
wrong.
year, but he's eligible. He's eligible for the draft. I fully expect he'll come out.
Okay. And then at safety, we have Malachi Starks for Georgia and Xavier Watts for Notre Dame. We talked about Watts a little bit ago, kind of undersized. I think he probably should return to Notre Dame. Starks is a pretty good player. I think he has another year left too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then they added one. Well, there's 2 more here. Then they added just a DB spot, which goes to Terrion Arnold of Alabama. And some of the games I watched, he was big for them in that secondary. So I like him.
He was.
They've listed punters.
Do you think would you rather have seen Caleb Downs there than Arnold, or?
No, because I think how they were using Arnold, he was better. He's a little bit better in coverage, I think, just a little bit. So I think how they were, from what I seen,
okay,
I think he was a little bit better suited for that. But now, if you're asking for a straight up player that can do it all, then yeah, Caleb Downs. But I'm surprised he's not on this list with the true freshman season that he had.
I mean, I kind of was too, and to me, like if you were getting rid of somebody, Arnold would be the one I'd get rid of. For
yes, yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then they added punter because let's face it, that is a defensive weapon.
Well, and he was certainly a weapon for them as much as they punted.
Exactly, Torrey Taylor for Iowa, man. I think he punted as much this year as most people punt in their whole career. It seems like. And yeah, that's all we had. We didn't have any listener questions. So, anything else you want to add or you want to discuss?
No.
I think we kind of covered everything. Like I said, there's a lot of portal news. There's a lot of.
It looks like we got a question from Sal you wanted to talk about.
The one on the sheet that's an old one.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize that. I just saw.
I left it there so I could put in if somebody.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
No, that's an older one. I usually leave it there that way if somebody I can keep that format. But yeah, that's an older one.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of recruiting news, a lot of portal news. I figured that's going to be something we can speak a lot of or about on this off season.
Yep.
I have to imagine the next few weeks we'll be talking about bowl games and maybe some portal stuff, but I think the bowl games is going to be the biggest thing for the next week or two.
Yeah, you might get a look at some
We'll
guys
probably be seeing a lot
for the first time, maybe.
that are entering the draft, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. As always, we thank you for listening, supporting us. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, all that.
YouTube.
Go over to YouTube. Give us a subscribe, rate, and review there. Yep. You can hit us up on Devy IDP Grind. We're fixing to hit 400 followers there. So at Devy IDP Grind, go give us a follow there. You can follow me at Hollywood Titan. You can find Justice at Justice_2318. And we'll be back next Monday. Until then, take it easy. Send in all your questions, trades, whatever you have for us. We are always glad to help. Oh, and I think you're doing it later tonight. Go check out the G5 Hive that Justice does.
Yep, we'll be doing that later tonight, 10:15 or so.
So go check out the champ is here and harass him all you can.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty impressive run, man. To win 2 out of 3 and what should have been 3 of 3, that's pretty impressive. No doubt.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I don't think I'm even going to make the playoffs on the NFL side. I mean, like points wise, I'm pretty good, but my record's not that good. And so I'm pretty sure, like I'm just looking right now. What is it? I think I have to get in on points because I'm not going to get in on record. I guess it's possible. I don't know. It kind of depends on what happens with Sal's game this week and what happens with T-Dubs and Kyle this week. Kind of will affect whether I make the playoffs. I was gonna look because I'm winning right now. Let's see, is Sal winning? Yeah, and Sal's got 5 players left, so Sal's gonna win. So, and then, who else? See, the Philly and Green Bay. If they both win, I'm definitely out. Green Bay is Kyle. Oh, yeah.
Well, it could be worse. You could be in.
Kyle's gonna win. He's up by like almost 100, and Philly looks like they're gonna lose, but I think they got more points than me. 33-62 to yeah. I think I'm the first. I think I am the first man out of the playoffs. Sucks.
Oh wow. Well, it could be worse. You could be in my division, which has 3 of the 4 teams are 10 wins or better. So you've got.
Yeah, I think everybody in your division is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, Sal's going to make it too?
I believe so.
Oh wow, that would be a first.
He's going to be 8-6.
But yeah.
So yeah, I think
yeah.
I think it's going to be Brock's going to make it from my division. All 4 teams in yours, so that's Dwight, Hollywood, Todd, and Sal, and then I think Nate's going to make it in the other division, and then Kyle and T-Dubs are your last 2, right? Because is that 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Yep. So I think I am the
my
last.
division being so good really put a hinder on the rest of you.
Yes. I'm the first man out of the playoffs.
And my division mates would like to thank you from the bottom of their heart for trading me Jordan Love.
Hey, I mean,
I don't
have
think
like,
if you'd done that, I don't think I would have made the playoffs.
well, I mean, you would have made the playoffs, but you might not have done much. I mean, I got, it's a 1 quarterback league. I got Pat
Losing Burrow would kill
Mahomes.
me.
I got Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, Jordan Love. I got Drake May coming up. I really didn't need,
No damn wonder I couldn't find a quarterback.
So, but I need my running backs and my receivers are terrible. So, I was glad to get Pacheco. That helps me. Helps me and it helps you. So,
Yep. So yeah, we are. After tonight, we will officially be into playoff week. Be interesting to see who wins that on the Canton side. It'll be interesting. I have to imagine all leagues are into the playoffs starting this week, maybe next week, depending on how
I think
your league
most of
sets
them,
up.
most of
I
them
think
be
most
next
start
is
this
next week.
So.
Start next week is playoffs.
Yeah.
I am in one league that this past week,
good
the
luck
current
to
week
you.
we're in, was a playoff week. So
I was wondering about that the other day. How many leagues still started playoffs at week 13 or 14, whatever it is?
I am in one.
I know when they
that started this
switched
week
to the 17 game schedule, we added a game to our regular season. So
yeah, I'm in one. I think I was the last seed in, and I am down about 40 points. And I got Tajay Spears, Preston Smith, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Cater Kohu left. I will say that the weird thing is, though, MFL has me as a 98% win probability, so we'll see. Based on
I think that is
based on
close,
their projections. So I need a big night from Tajay Spears. Go Titans.
It's a doubleheader night. So you got the Titans and Miami playing, and you've got Green Bay and the Giants playing tonight. So
good one.
Fun time. So yeah, please send us your questions, trades. If you need help, let us know. Or if you just want to BS about IDP Devy, college football, hit us up. We're always glad to chat. We'll be back next week. Thank you for supporting us. Please go rate, review, and subscribe. And we will see you next week.